At the notorious Tornillo tent city shelter in the middle of the West Texas desert, Vice News has found that over 2,000 employees working with immigrant children on behalf of the Department of Health and Human Services and the Office of Refugee Resettlement have not received the required FBI fingerprint background checks to work at the facility. And there's now a report out from the HHS Inspector General's office confirming this violation. The IG's memo says that it has already met with officials from the agencies overseeing Tornillo, and that, quote, these issues warrant ORR's immediate attention. About 1,200 of the employees in question are called direct care workers because they have regular contact with the kids. They watch them during their meals, oversee them in the tents, and watch over them during bedtime. Not having background checks with fingerprints is a direct violation of HHS's own guidelines. Those guidelines call for an FBI fingerprint check of national and state criminal history repositories. That goes for full-time, part-time, temp workers, or contractors, basically anyone who has access to the 13 to 17-year-old kids detained here. Since June of this year, Tornillo has exploded from about 400 kids in tents to over 2,000. Over half of them are waiting to be reunited with family members or sponsors in the US. But ironically, the Trump administration insists that for the safety of those kids, the members of those sponsor households have to submit fingerprints first, a standard they're not applying to their own employees. BCFS Health and Human Services, the nonprofit that runs the shelter, says that they want to do the checks but can't. A spokesperson says that they need a government agency to give them access to the system, and HHS can't give them access. A BCFS official told us that they've repeatedly asked for months and months. HHS has not responded to follow-up questions. Tornillo is different from nearly every other shelter for migrant children because it sits on federal land and isn't subject to state oversight or state inspections, but FBI fingerprints are still required. BCFS conducted other national background checks and examined sex offender registries, but as the IG's office pointed out, the checks are less comprehensive and therefore expose the kids to greater risk. 3 sources who work in leadership and HR at another shelter network confirmed this. They say that other background checks have failed to show crimes tracked by the FBI. Our team has spent more than a week on the ground talking to workers. They're the ones wearing the bright yellow jackets. The IG's office says that HHS told them that they've already begun meeting with folks at Tornillo to remedy this. But we've met employees who started this week and did not receive FBI fingerprint checks. We spoke to one employee who's worked at Tornillo for a few months. She asked us not to reveal her identity because the employees are not supposed to speak to the press.
When you apply for the job, were you required to give your fingerprints?
No.
Have you heard anything about why the shelter is making the effort to fingerprint family but not people who work at the facility?
To be honest, no. They just tell us that we're waiting for a print. That's the only thing they tell us for the kids, but not for us. The system was really slow.
These kinds of facilities with these young children should be fingerprinting people?
Yes.
There are 2,113 employees working at Tornillo. BCFS insists that it's still safe even without their fingerprints. But in the meantime, more than half of the children in their care are waiting to be reunited with family members or sponsors as they go through the slow process of submitting fingerprints of their own.